Okay, we are on. And we have something there? Thank you. Okay, so I'd like to welcome everyone and open the agenda for the Georgetown Planning Board, March 23rd, 2016 meeting, Memorial Town Hall, third floor conference room, 5:07. Approval of minutes of February 10th, 2016. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of February 10th, 2016.
Second.
Motion has been made and it's been seconded to approve the minutes of February 10th, 2016. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, on page 3 of 4, line 126, I wasn't even here,
Uh-huh.
so that wasn't me.
Good catch.
It was the easiest catch that I'm going to make.
These have been a little rushed, I will admit,
No problem.
so thank you.
I was in beautiful downtown Oklahoma City.
Anyone else have any?
I just had a question about it. And that was the italics information. I don't know if that's the norm. We've never seen it on the planning board before. But I appreciate Adrian, Andrea is getting the gist of our meetings. You know, it's obvious from those statements that she's understanding it, which I applaud her. There's a lot to our meetings. And coming in cold, she's doing great. But I just didn't think she could put her opinion in there. I thought that if this was the topic, that she had to name the people that said that to show it. But have you ever come across anything like that? For the open meeting laws is where I question that. Can you do that?
I think, I can't for sure answer your question. I think, I think the meeting minutes are not as necessarily serious as we try to make them out to be. I know that, for example, they're just considered hearsay as far as, so.
And in addition, if I may just add, since all of our meetings are recorded,
Right.
I mean, if there is a document of record, it's that recording.
Correct.
This is more of a summary and really kind of a high-level snapshot of these are the topics that were covered. This is generally what the conversation was about. I recall we had meeting minutes a couple of years ago that were quotes.
We've been whittled.
And oh
down
my
to-
Lord, it was,
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was something
I,
else.
Tilly, I guess what I would say, just so we can approve these as is, but, if you can find something that says, we're not allowed to do that, or we can have a discussion on meeting minutes in general, as an agenda item. Because I don't know, I personally don't have any problem with them. Does anybody?
You can just give us like a
Yeah.
little summary, kind of a placeholder.
Yeah.
So.
It's kind of like the subject
30,000.
headings where it says, for example, A&R, National Ave, Form A and Form B have been submitted to plans that they will be next submitted. It's kind of like that, so.
I'll just mention I only have 2 pages of it on the scanned version. I don't know if everyone else, I assume, has all.
That's true. You know why? Because the back pages
Yeah, can I have
had pages on it and it didn't come in.
it's 3 and 4.
Yeah.
This is 1 and 2.
perfect.
A lot of different ways, that was probably one of them.
Yeah.
I didn't do.
So,
I
any
did the
other,
hard copy in double sided.
is there any other comments on the meeting minutes?
All
Okay,
right.
so seeing no other comments.
I'm sorry,
Oh.
just give me half a
Oh,
second
so.
because I only got 2 of the 4 pages, so just
Yeah, they have it.
Happy birthday,
thank you.
George.
You sure?
Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Okay, so seeing no more discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, 4 yes, 1 absent. Moving on to correspondence,
Bob, did you vote on that?
Yeah.
You weren't there for that meeting though, right?
Oh, you're right.
that's correct.
Absolutely
So
right.
that would be 3 yes, 1 abstain. Bob, he wasn't at the meeting,
Okay.
and 1 absent.
I sort of felt
Um,
like, you know, I participated vicariously.
So correspondence from town of Boxford, town of Newbury, Chaplain Hills resident email. And I just want to mention again with regards to the Chaplain Hills correspondence, you know, that's has been received and it has been included in the packet when Chaplain Hills comes up for the first public hearing. We will read that then into the minutes. So for the individual who submitted that, please know that we've got that. Georgetown Historical Commission, 2 Palmer Lane, the 2 articles were submitted, and then Larry Graham's, which I gave you all, or I gave Andrea last time on how Ipswich wrote their stormwater package. So moving on to vouchers, we have 2.
Make a motion to approve, Larry Graham's for 6-year run, $375. And that's it.
Second? So a motion's been made and it's been seconded to approve the voucher vendor account classification M26511 for HL Graham Associates 6-year run in the amount of $375.00. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Unanimous, 4 yes, 1 absent.
I did that one.
Huh? Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we vote to approve a voucher in the amount of $600 table to the Eagle Tribune, ads for the town planner position.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and it's been seconded to approve the Eagle Tribune advertisement for town planner in the amount of $600. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
4 yes, 1 absent. Okay, that takes care of vouchers. Moving on to public hearing. Chapter 57, Stormwater Erosion Control. I have a motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and it's been seconded to open the public hearing for Chapter 57, Stormwater and Erosion Control bylaw. And with that, I don't know if, so the last time we received that package from Larry Graham, and it was how Ipswich has written theirs, and I don't know if anybody has gone over that, and if there was anything in that that you wanted to adopt. In a broad sense, the only thing I was aware of, and I have not reviewed that packet to add my 2 cents, I have not been part of the drafting of the 57 stormwater control package that we currently have. But there was, Larry had mentioned there was, you know, who's responsible for what under certain conditions. It provided there was language in there to identify clearly who was the jurisdiction responsible for granting the permit. And that was the only thing I was aware of that wanted to record. So with that, I don't know if there was anything from the public right now that wanted to add to that. George?
Yeah, George Kaminsky, 45 Old Jacobs Road.
Yeah.
So Tilly did send me a packet, and all it has really is it has Ipswich's bylaw and Ipswich's regulations. So what Larry pulled out is a section where who would hold jurisdiction, and I think he says that, you know, the Concom would hold jurisdiction if it's within the wetland resource area. Outside the wetland resource area, he says the planning board would have jurisdiction.
That was it.
but it's in the regulations, so, I don't think you have to adopt that in the bylaw. The changes you made to the bylaw, just keep that in mind when we're doing the regulations to include,
That's right.
include
You're
it.
reminding me, right, that we were gonna put that in with the regulations when we do that.
Right, so, I mean, I corresponded with the Conservation Commission, you know, to get their take, and they didn't like that it said, if they get an order of conditions first, then it doesn't, go in front of the planning board. I think, the Conservation Commission wants more clarification for that. But like I said, that's when I said, you know, the planner and Steve can work on this in the summer when, if this gets approved at town meeting, they can go over regulations, and I would think you'd have a regulatory hearing, you know, to get that in there, so,
I'm glad you're here tonight, because you just reminded me of all of that. Thanks, George.
yeah.
So, it seems to me, and I'll lean on you a little bit here, George, too, it seems to me that, you know, we're ready to vote on this, and,
I mean, he didn't comment on the bylaw. I mean,
no, he did not.
he just said, this is where I see, that, he was answering a question that the board had, what if the Conservation Commission thinks we're stepping on their toes?
Why he did that.
And he said, I'll look at the regulations in Ipswich and see how, you know, they make it more of an equitable situation there, so.
So, we think we're ready to close the public hearing?
I know, frankly, if, George, I mean, you've read through our proposed changes and you're comfortable with the way it's written, and
Right, and the bylaw really isn't effective until we come up with regulations, so, I mean, anything we skip or miss over in the bylaw, we can just say, well, we'll just put it in the regulations to clarify, you know.
I mean, I think it's a good start to get this in. Get it off our list of things to do.
Love it.
I wondered why we didn't address the subdivision regulations right off. And, when we ran the ad, and that was my question, as soon as I saw that, we were just addressing this bylaw in the hearing. And I says, it's really our subdivision regs that we're involved with. We're not involved with, this bylaw, for, chapter 57 is the conservation requirement. They're the permitting authority, so.
But we're changing that, the bylaw will change that.
But, and the fact is that Larry Graham gave us the rainfall chart, that graph, and we can't put it in this, or can we?
Well, no, that goes to if we're going, if you as a board wanna start over from scratch and take Larry Graham's information that he submitted and figure in what of his you want to adopt and redraft this, if that's what the board wants to do, that's what the board's pleasure can do. I'm not for that. So,
Well, it's just confusing the way we're going about it. That's basically where I'm at.
Well, Ipswich has their DPW as the permitting authority, and that, I don't think that would be appropriate for this town, because Ipswich is the type of town that has an engineer on staff that would, for the DPW, that would do that.
are you thinking that it's confusing, not so much what Larry submitted?
No, I don't think
You're-
that's confusing.
Right.
I think well, it's similar to what we already have, what this Ipswich
Right,
has.
right.
There's not that many differences.
Right.
But the one that we have does say the Concom. And I was trying to find out where in here does it say the permitting authority is whoever.
It's in the oh, and theirs?
Yeah, and theirs, I couldn't,
It's the DPW and the regulations.
well, the difference there though is, doesn't Ipswich have, am I mistaken, they don't have a treatment plant for their storm drains? Don't they have a treatment plant facility? Or is it also,
I think they are a Seward community.
they have a sewage arrangement,
I think so, yeah.
right? So
part of town is, part of town isn't, for what it's worth. Yeah.
so like Newburyport does, and I think what they do is they give the responsibility to the selectmen, and then the selectmen designate it to the DPW. And that's how that circle goes.
But we're talking about stormwater, not talking about stormwater.
I am too. But the thing
I
about it is.
guess I'm not following you in terms of what is,
All right, this started because we wanted the Cornell numbers, period,
right,
right?
right,
Nowhere in our current bylaws does it say that,
right.
right? Where do we put it in, when our hearing was for the stormwater bylaw? Can we put it in there? Was that the purpose of that being advertised and moved forward on the bylaw itself?
I don't think the planning board can can promulgate regulations if the Concom is the permitting authority. And I think, it seemed like I got more feedback from the planning board that they would be more willing to adopt, promulgate regulations.
Right.
That's why this is something Parker River is pushing not only for Georgetown, but for all the communities in our watershed.
Right.
So I thought the planning board was more receptive, and it makes sense for the planning board to handle stormwater that's not within a resource area. There are some places where it doesn't overlap. I think the school building project would have been captured under the stormwater bylaw and would have gone in front of you guys. I think there's a house on East Main Street that's being built with with a land disturbance that's more than the limit allows. That doesn't require site plan review, special permit, or definitive subdivision, that it's not being captured. It's just that there's a lot of earth and dirt and rocks being moved around, and there's no permitting authority to capture that. So I think that's why I thought the planning board would be the best board. And I think you're right in a way. I mean, doesn't hurt to be redundant. You can have these in your subdivision regulations. The Conservation Commission can have it in their wetland regulations.
Right.
It's just that for the stormwater permit, which we're required to do, there's no regulations.
Yeah.
So we need this. The first step, I think, is the planning board to adopt
To do the regulations.
adopt the bylaw, and then they could do the regulations.
Right. And the amendments that were presented to us had the lines in it, which, did you go over that? I guess it was Howard that sent that to us. And it had all kinds of amendments to it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
And if you turn the page, there's quite a few others, don't you think? If that's
well, I think,
our agreement, that we're gonna do all those changes?
yeah, I think that's what's been in front of the board for a little while now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're going to,
that's my understanding.
should
You
we
all have
vote
been,
on all of those, or we're all
like,
content with them, or what?
well, I'm assuming that the board is familiar with this document, and that, this has been with us for quite a while now, and that we're approving, the bylaw as a whole.
So, Tilly, your comment is that the strikes, the track changes is still on the document. Is that your comment? Is that what I understand?
We were presented that,
Right.
Right, for amendments.
But I presume that the final one will not have the track changes on it. It'll just have a final original document.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
I think this was just at the last
For our
round of,
ease of reading, when we
it was the last round
Yeah.
of communication.
And even, with those changes, it still, it doesn't address the Cornell numbers.
Well, that's why I say, Till, I think that this is the first step. You can't really insert Cornell numbers. I don't think it's appropriate to insert the Cornell numbers in the bylaw.
Yeah.
I-
Is that every time the Cornell numbers change, correct? We'd have to go back to town meeting
Well,
to.
you can always do that comment that, or the current, current numbers that Cornell uses, you can use that phrase, that would cover everything.
And
I
I've
think
seen
this-
that phrase in regulations in there's about 5, 6 towns
Yeah.
that use it in their regulations. They don't have it in the bylaw.
Yeah,
And that way, I think if it's a regulatory change, you can open up a regulatory hearing,
uh-huh,
approve it at a regulatory hearing, and it not have to go to town meeting.
So I think this is just about then, you know, approving this is the base, this is the foundation. And then when we get to regulations, we can add those additional components that may seem necessary,
Yeah, I mean, the bylaw says you can adopt regulations.
which is where we.
I agree with you 100%. You know, this is on the books for quite a few years, decades, and there's no regulations.
So
This
here it
is
is.
ridiculous.
So with
Give me the
that,
document, I'll make a motion.
do we need to close the public hearing first?
No, you can do it right now.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Chapter 57 Stormwater and Erosion Control as amended and with the amendments contained in the document that I'm holding.
I have a question about, I'll second that, but I do have a
Okay,
question.
motion has been made and it's been seconded to approve the the
Amended.
to approve the amended Chapter 57 Stormwater and Control and Erosion Control Bylaw, pages 1 through 10, as amended.
My question is this, are we approving this, or are we recommending that the selectmen advance this to town meeting?
The second.
The second.
Okay,
Correct. So maybe the motion.
I just wanted to make sure that.
Yeah, no,
we're-
sorry. Yeah,
No,
so-
no, no problem.
We'll do two motions then.
Can I withdraw that motion?
Sure, as far as I'm concerned.
Withdrawing the motion and
Consider it done.
making a new motion that we recommend to the
Selectmen.
selectmen that they approve the amended Chapter 57 Stormwater bylaw
And
as
advance it to
amended,
town meeting.
and advance it to town meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and it's been seconded to recommend to
I'll
the
second
selectmen
it,
for
Dan.
inclusion in the annual town warrant. The Chapter 57 Stormwater and Erosion Control Bylaw with current amendments as noted, pages 1 through 10. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
4 yes, 1 missing.
So it's my understanding, if the selectmen approve to go on the warrant, then the town council will write up the motion for you guys to make in town meeting. So it'll be something like,
Yeah, some,
stormwater bylaw is hereby amended by deleting chapter 6C and
some
adding
words.
so-and-so, and
Yeah.
that's
Someone
how,
will have to provide that language, and I guess it does come from the town's council, yeah.
is that
But there
your
will be
recommendation?
someone from the board. Yep. Yep.
Make a motion to close the public hearing on Chapter 57 Stormwater and Erosion Control.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to close the public hearing on stormwater and erosion control, chapter 57. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks, George,
Aye, aye.
thanks a lot.
Thanks, George.
Old business, we have none. New business, we have none. And we're gonna go to planning office. We have 3 items. The first one is the final decision for Healthy Farms Incorporated. Healthy Farms, Inc., the certificate of vote and special permit approval with conditions. So, last meeting, Matt took notes and combined them with Andrea, and you all had in your packet that final production, and I guess I would just, before we get into
I didn't have it.
editing it, if we have any edits.
That came on Monday in an email.
It was a separate email.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you have any, so if you have changes to it?
No.
Okay. But what I was going to say is that, so town council took a look at this, and town council said, as far as they were concerned, this was consistent with what he, you know, he was good with it, good to go. So town council has signed off on it, and I think what we wanna do now is, you know, at this point, you know, crossing Ts and dotting Is are great, but we're not gonna make any wholesale changes to this, or otherwise we're gonna be going completely backwards, and against town council, and I don't wanna do that.
Well, I saw some minor things that I'm happy to go through, but there was one major issue that I thought we had discussed in some detail, and it came back in here, so I do wanna just raise that, at least that one.
Yep, okay, fair, I mean, fair enough, we'll just have to be very cautious of how in depth. We'll see what each one is
Okay.
like. So with that, I think what I'd like to do is just start, might as well start with you, Matt, and we'll just go around.
Okay. Do you want me to go through everything, or?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
all right. If we turn to page 2 of 9,
Two of it.
There's 2 of 8.
2 of 8?
oh, I guess with my edits, it's gone onto that, page 9. I swear there's not that many. First paragraph, end of the first paragraph, Mr. Nathaniel Averill. We should just add his title there, if that's president, I presume.
Executive Director.
Executive director.
Well, what, can I, while we're on that, I had
Well, we'll come,
an edit to that one.
yep, we'll go to
Alright.
each person and do it that way, okay?
Next one, 3, page 3, paragraph 3C. Just increased runoff. Just add the D to the increase.
Delete the D?
No, add D. Increased runoff. Okay, go ahead.
Decrease?
No, so there's ABC.
There's ABC, the proposed use shall not,
Oh, and you know what? I did read that wrong. Okay, she had it right. My apologies, Andrea.
so it's,
Yep, it was right.
I guess what I'm confused about, Matt, is that my,
We didn't get a chance to work together, is what, but, so we did it the best we could, there's.
okay,
We bridged it 95%, so there's a 5% that we just didn't finish, so we're doing it publicly, I guess that's what's happening.
okay, so that's why, and that explains why I'm looking at the word increased.
Yeah.
And yet, got it, okay, so end result's a good thing.
Perfect, okay. All right,
So
number
we have
s-
ABC on that one, that's
yes,
it.
ABC, that's it.
Yep,
Number 7, I just think that permit holders should maintain the fence in good working condition, should be a separate paragraph.
I'm right there with you.
Perfect.
Which,
Number-
can you repeat that, Matt?
Sure, number 7, add, the section about pavement and the section about the fence as one. I just think those should be separated out as separate paragraphs.
On what page are you on now?
On page 3,
Oh, 3, okay.
3, number 7.
I would add
Three
separate
of eight.
paragraph, I'd give it a number, separate number.
Yeah, exactly, yeah,
So then all the other numbers.
yeah, and everything will change now. So the previous,
You lost me, Matt.
the
You went
previous
too
number.
fast.
Number 7?
All
I
right,
was just
this one,
saying from this on.
okay.
Andrea, just parenthetically, I didn't receive this.
Oh, I got you.
And then the other one.
Was this sent to the Georgetown
All right,
email or the Gmail?
Georgetown.
okay.
Yeah, because I don't,
Thank you.
So,
if you could send that to my Gmail account.
Just making notes.
I have too many email accounts and I would have to be scanning that.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
what was previously number 9 is now number 10. There will be an annual written communication between the permit holder and the chief of police assessing the necessity of all additional policing needs as well to the operation of the business. Period. Any finding made, and this is where the change starts, any findings made by the chief of police will be delivered in writing. It was just getting redundant. There was a couple of places there where the words were
Yeah,
made over. So any findings made by the chief of police will be delivered in writing.
so should I take out the result of which was delivered in writing, or just insert that there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
instead of the result of which, the findings, any findings made by the chief of police.
Okay.
All right,
So before you go on,
mhm.
Andrea, could you just please read that?
Yeah. So there will be an annual written communication between the permit holder and the chief of police assessing the necessity of any additional policing needs as a result of the operation of the business, period. Any findings made by the chief of police will be delivered in writing by the permit holder to the planning board and the zoning compliance officer of the town. Is that what you wanted?
Yep.
You will be delivered by or to?
In writing by the permit
By the
holder
permit
to
holder.
the planning board and zoning.
Okay.
Okay.
And just as an aside, everywhere that permit holder is written, it should be capitalized.
Okay.
What-
So you're gonna leave everything else or taking that off?
Leave everything else.
Okay.
That was just the change in that paragraph. So it should be labeled number 11, I believe. It starts, the permit holder shall. This is the one that I think is fairly major, but I don't think that we agreed with this. The owner of the budding property shall also receive such notice.
I circled that also, Matt.
Yeah,
We did not.
I am
Yeah, that was
100%
confusing
confident
to
that
me.
we.
We
So you had
did, we,
John Conley's notes, and then I wasn't kinda
That's what he had
sure.
recommended,
Right,
but you
right.
saw that in his note. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So that should come off
that should
over
be,
there,
that should be struck. I agree.
and on the in the next paragraph
Yep,
as well.
okay.
So just to be clear, is everyone clear on that?
Yeah.
Okay,
You're gonna remove both of them.
okay.
Number 16. The permit holder shall test annually for nitrogen. You know when everyone is there. Yep. Permit holder shall test annually for nitrogen, phosphorus, and this is where the change is, and potassium to evaluate the test.
That was, that
Yep.
didn't come out well to
Nope.
evaluate, yep.
Okay, and then at the last part of that paragraph, and I'm sorry, I don't know where the change is, I just,
Yeah,
permit holder shall use an independent testing lab and shall complete the following, and shall complete follow-up testing every 30 days until corrected.
There's one thing that I'm not sure, so the permit holder shall test annually for nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium.
To evaluate,
Test results.
the rest as is written.
And evaluate test results compared to- I guess where something starts to break down for me, and maybe it's just me,
Mhm.
the intent behind that is testing annually for those elements and to evaluate those test results compared to the original report.
Yeah.
And I get, when I see the word "to" doesn't make that happen for me, but if it does for everybody else, I'm fine. It's not a big deal. Test results compared.
I think we're missing the,
yeah.
yeah, compared to the report of nitrogen loading calculation submitted. Does that,
Doesn't matter to
That's,
me.
that's
Does that do
good.
it?
That
Doesn't
that
really
helps a
matter.
lot. Yep,
Leave it in or leave it out.
yep. Okay,
I do notice in here that we don't have any obligation for them to tell anybody about this. They can all do all this on their own. Granted, that's a substantive change, but
permit holder shall use an independent permit correcting to a correction. If the results are in excess, permit holder shall correct the conditions immediately. There is no mechanism there for that, is there?
there's no obligation in this for them to tell us.
Right.
Granted, we didn't discuss that at the last meeting, but I think it would be fair to add that in.
And report it to the planning board, probably,
Any issue with that?
and submit to the planning board.
If the results are in excess, permit holder shall correct the conditions immediately. Permit holder shall use an independent testing following testing activity
failures or?
until
If
corrected.
the results are in excess, permit holder, again, that should be capitalized, shall report said condition to the planning board. And shall correct the condition immediately.
So then the planning board's notified.
Right.
Okay,
Everybody
good.
good with that?
Yep, that's all. You okay with that?
And then just I'm on now page, I'm sorry guys, I'm sure my pages are all different than yours at this point, but 6 is what mine says. Where it says prior to the sign off of the building permit by the planning board.
Yep.
I just think each of these paragraphs, they're titles, so I don't think they need numbers.
Okay,
I just read fairly funny with the numbers there, so that paragraph, the prior to the start of the during construction, construction operation, all the way down through, each of those shouldn't be numbered. I think those should just be paragraph titles.
okay. Do you want bullets?
I don't think bullets are necessary either.
Okay. So
Just
A,
maybe-
B, C, D, I just take those out?
No, I'm sorry, I'm not being clear. Right, in your version, it said 1 prior to the start of and during
Oh.
construction, take out the number.
Oh, okay.
So that should just be all the way left justified,
Yeah, I see.
and do that on each of those
1, 2,
paragraph
3,
headings.
4, 5, 6, 7,
Yep.
Agreed.
8. Yeah, that looks
Agreed.
better. Yeah.
Because I think those are just, and then any of them that only have an A, I don't think you need the A.
Yeah.
It's my little neurosis there, but. And that's what I had.
Okay. Robert, I know you're behind the.
Right,
don't
but
have
I'm in line with these comments, and I'm in line with what we had agreed on.
Okay, great. Tilly?
Well, after the first part, first off, I have one question. I don't know if the certificate of vote like this is the process. I've never seen this when I was on the zoning board, and I know a certificate of vote is used for subdivisions, but I didn't know it was used for everything. So that was a new thought to me. I don't know if that's the process.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay. And then the next page, very at the beginning, when you got to the end, where Nathaniel Averill, his address you have way down in somewhere else, and I thought that it should be up here. You know, put it right with his name, and that's the end of it. You know, you just don't repeat and repeat. So what I wrote was, his address is 22 Milton Street.
That's actually the business address, not
Yep.
my personal address.
That's your business address.
Yeah.
Maybe, Andrea, we could just move that whole third paragraph right after the words executive director,
Mhm.
and I think that would solve
Yeah.
the problem, and it would.
Yeah, it just,
That was the problem of combining the two different.
So you're gonna take the paragraph, this site plan approved, and you're gonna move that up
yeah.
right after. Separate paragraph.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so that was moved over, and then,
Good catch.
and then I was, I removed the use consists of operations associated in the next paragraph, and just start with, the registered marijuana dispensary. That was repeating. You know, a lot of this is repetition, and it's not necessary. You're
So-
describing where the parcel of land is, and you're putting in, the plan. The map is 14, lot 4. That's fine.
It is repetitive. 2 different people wrote the 2 similar.
That's
paragraphs.
right.
So
Yeah.
it needs some direction on what you don't want.
Yeah, right. So consolidate that so that
Yeah.
it's not repeated.
So I'm not, so how would it read?
The registered marijuana dispensary to a parcel of land as per plans of Hayes Engineering, Peter Ogren. The rest of that sentence. And, that's it. You don't have to, just the beginning of that. You don't need to repeat the use consists of operations associated. We've already, by just putting marijuana dispensary,
But
that's the use. You're saying their use, and you're kind of repeating a lot of that, which
That's fine,
is
it's
totally
just-
not necessary.
the,
Fine, but the way you had stated it, it just wasn't quite a complete sentence anymore.
all right.
So, the registered marijuana dispensary shall be operated on a parcel of land. We just need a verb there, that's all.
Right.
Shall be operated, does that work, or?
that
Yeah.
works.
Okay. And you don't need to repeat, the permit holder submitted a completed application. That whole paragraph you can take out. And then when it comes to before the findings, you could say the following findings approved by the planning board are listed below. And then you list them.
So wait, I need to go back. So why would you delete the permit holder submitted a complete application?
Because you wouldn't, if there was a problem with the application, you should never have started it. So that's like redundant. You don't have to repeat your process, which is automatic. You know, that's, if you're gonna approve a special permit, he's gotta have a completed application. You just can't do it halfway. And you're just repeating what you've already acknowledged by approving it.
My concern with that, though, Tilly, is that there are bylaws and general laws cited in that section that we're taking out, that you wanted to take out, that aren't listed anywhere else.
They're listed up here in the dispensary article
40A isn't listed.
165, well,
165 through 83 is, okay, I see that.
yeah.
Uh,
You're listing,
I guess, here's my concern. If we don't, we just need to be careful. If something is redundant, my attitude is, if town council has said this is okay, and if we don't have a town planner to be on top of all of this right now, I don't think it's gonna serve the board any purpose to edit how some of the sentences are written unless it's agreed, like the subject matter that you were talking about. Otherwise, I think we really need to try to stay with crossing Ts and dotting Is, or else we're gonna start deleting things that, and then I fall back on, so what if it's redundant? So it's not a perfect document. I'd rather have that than delete something that shouldn't be deleted.
well, I'll tell you, just my experience, I have never seen so much paperwork, 8 pages for a permit and a site approval. That, to me, is way too much.
Yeah, okay, well,
Way.
that's.
I mean, it's just, you've got, if there was ever an appeal, like you were saying, you'd have all those, videos to review and all of that. You don't repeat so much in this when you write out a special permit approval.
do you have other sections that you think are repetitive? Because I can see your point on that one section. There is a little overlap.
Mm. That's about it. That's really it. You took out those 2 big ones. Well, I wondered, was this required? On page 6, I had a question about that. Under construction operation, 3, on 5, and then during construction, I mean, all of that is for if you were going to build a building. That came out of our subdivision requirements, or site approval requirements, all of that. I mean, is it necessary to do a dig safe? Is he gonna do some kind of plan to do that?
Well, when they put in plants,
You have to,
and they've got some earthwork that they are doing for some of the
uh-huh,
drainage, so yeah, they would be required for dig safe and
yeah,
keeping the site clean. They'd need to be doing that for that kind of work.
Uh-huh. okay,
Hours of operation, I think it's all legit.
all right. That was my other question.
So then,
That's it.
so what is the conclusion to that paragraph?
I think, other than 40A, which is what we are doing the site plan approval under, which I don't think necessarily has to be specified out. I don't see a problem with taking it out, but then again, I'm not town council, so
So let's just, I'd prefer to leave it in, Bob.
No harm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's no harm. It's
Okay.
just, I was just trying
Trying
to
to
get you
clean it up.
guys not to repeat so much, you know?
Well,
A lot of this is not necessary, and quite frankly, I'm kind of amazed that town council didn't give us any suggestions throughout this, in that regard. I mean, is
Well-
it the same Jonathan that we know?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, you'd have to ask him.
Because I was surprised at that.
The
We're
only,
gonna live with it, I guess.
the only modifications that I would have are on page 3 of 8, special conditions, paragraph 3, the proposed use shall not cause an increase, and I would insert in drainage or water flow. Leaving the site shall not cause an increase in drainage or water flow. Paragraph 7 at the bottom of the page, the second sentence that begins with it shall, I would say it shall again be repaired to the satisfaction, just to clarify, make that a little bit more understandable. Well, it shall again be repaired to the satisfaction of the tech review agent. Paragraph 12, page 4 of 8. The permit holder shall file a copy of any summary cease and desist order. Get rid of one of the cease and desist orders.
I thought we removed that.
Did you already do that?
I thought, didn't we, the 2 paragraphs? Wasn't that your
should-
suggestion, Matt?
Not the whole paragraph, just the
Oh.
very last sentence in that paragraph.
So if it's already been, you with me?
Yep.
Okay, did you get that, Andrea?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what you wanna change, though, I
It
don't.
was just cease and desist order twice.
It's just written twice.
Oh,
It
okay.
just repeats itself.
Actually, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
No, summary cease and desist order and cease and desist order are 2 separate things.
Oh, you smart guy, dude. All right, skip that.
Lawyer.
The permit holder, paragraph 16 on page 5 of 8. The permit holder shall test annually for nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Test results compared to report of nitrogen loading calculations. I would suggest putting in the word originally submitted, and it just
Yep,
gives a little clarification to where those calculations came from. I think that was it. That was it.
Very good.
Okay, so with that,
Did the applicant have any suggestions? No? You had any?
I haven't seen that draft, but,
Oh.
I'm okay with what I've heard. Just would like to get the signed copy so we can get the stamp and the 20-day appeal period going. I don't need to
For
be
sure.
machinist anxious.
nope, for sure. So what we would be doing is we'd need to motion approval of this with modifications noted. And then I guess we're gonna have to stop in and sign it. And it would be nice if we could get this signed before the weekend. While the office is closed on Fridays. I'll make a point of stopping in tomorrow. I'm trying to get this 20-day period.
But Andrew, you're in what, 12 to 5?
I have to leave at 2:30 tomorrow, but I can make these changes. I definitely
Are
can
you
make these
sure?
changes, yeah.
And not killing yourself.
No,
Okay,
But tonight or tomorrow?
I'll do it tomorrow.
Right.
I'll have 12 to 2:30. My son has a doctor's appointment, otherwise
That's
I
fine.
would stay.
don't worry.
Could you leave it with the town clerk so, town hall's closed on Fridays, right?
Town hall's closed.
Police
You have a
station.
tough time on Thursday
Get it
getting me to
signed.
sign it?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
in court, so I just don't know.
Impossible for you.
So you'll have it delivered to the police station?
How about the police station?
Perfect.
Police station for signing.
What is the
So the-
cutoff date for this to get into? 90 days, it seemed to.
It's getting this submitted to the town clerk so that you can get that appeal period going, so that they can get going is actually more the critical path.
Yeah, but we have 90 days from the close of the
We do,
hearing.
but we don't wanna wait 90 because then they've gotta wait another 20 days on top of the 90,
The
so.
thing is, I won't be able to get to the cop shop until after work tomorrow.
Okay, so,
So this office is closed Friday,
yep,
so they're not gonna get it until Monday.
so it looks like that's gonna be the best we can do,
Monday.
Monday, so
Sorry.
if you
So I'll leave it in the police station.
leave it at the police station and we will all get around it and sign it, and so that when you come in Monday, you could pick it up
Okay.
and make your copy and you could
And then
pick
I
it up.
bring it to the clerk's office and
Yeah, Does he do that, or do
I
you?
think we have to, I think the planning.
I think the
board
planning, I think
Oh,
they, I think,
okay. I thought I
yeah.
had to
That's
come
fine,
pick it up.
save your trip.
No.
You
You don't, in fact, you don't have to pick it up. You don't have to come here, we can send it to you.
We can email it to you, yeah.
If you could email it and just confirm when
I
it's
will.
stamped with them, that would be
Mhm. Be happy
fantastic.
to.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. All right, so,
Do we need a motion since it's already been, we've already voted on this, right?
we already voted on it, but we made a few changes, but I don't, it wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
So, if I could get a motion for that, I'm done with it.
I make a motion that we approve, the changes discussed tonight for, the medical marijuana dispensary.
Second.
So a motion has been made and it has been seconded to approve the Healthy Farms Inc. 401 East Main Street Certificate of Vote and Special Permit Approval with conditions with noted changes per our meeting. Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks for coming. You too. All right. So, then the only other, the two, so we have, town planner discussion. We need to, select two people from the board to, make up that committee. Mike is out sick, but, my understanding in talking with Janet is, they have 14 applications and they have whittled it down to 5. He thinks, I shouldn't use the word whittle it down. He has 5 that he thinks are really good candidates. They will, once we pick the 2 from here, because you can't have 3, because then you're a public hearing. And then the affordable housing group, they need to put one on. So then you have the 3, and then Janet or Mike will arrange an interview process for the group to get together and start to interview the candidates they want to interview. So the first step for us is to appoint the 2 people to be on that committee.
Just to clarify, we are going to share with the affordable housing?
Correct.
Because that's not what the ad says. Ad says full-time, town planning position, full-time, 40 hours a week. Not a problem?
Well, what it is, my understanding of that is, I don't think the ad's a problem, but my understanding is the way that works is that those extra 8 hours to make it a full-time are not paid out of our budget, they're paid out of
Got it.
that budget. And that makes it a 40-hour work week, which then you can
Benefits and whatnot.
sort of be
Yep.
competitive.
Yep.
I'll volunteer to be one of the persons
Okay,
on the committee.
all right.
I know Harry was interested in that role.
Yeah.
What do you say, Harry?
Does anybody, I didn't hear from him, I don't know anything. Do we, in all fairness, do we wanna, well, I don't know what to do.
The good thing, I know Harry was involved when Howard was, the search committee was out for Howard. So he's been through this process at least once, so that's, does, I think, obviously provide some benefit there. This was what always used to happen at Rotary. Whenever anybody didn't show up, we'd volunteer them for 20 different things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but he's busy working, so I mean, when he, why don't you do it, Matt?
I just don't know what the time commitment involved is, and just from a personal standpoint, my wife is 8 months pregnant.
No kidding.
Congratulations.
Man, that's great.
Congratulations, man.
So,
Number
probably
1, 2, 3,
2,
5.
number 2. So my time will be increasingly limited.
Sure.
So I just don't know that this is the right time to get involved in something like that.
Well, I think, I mean, I've thought a lot about it, obviously, and on the one hand, the last thing I wanna do is volunteer more time. On the other hand, I think the selecting of the town planners is obviously a really important position. And I think, you know, having the expertise in land planning and usually being on the other side of the table. I think I could help bring to the board a good recommendation,
Excellent.
in terms of people for you guys to pick from, but, it's, you know, it's up to you all.
Yeah,
I think that's.
that sounds good.
Yeah, I'm quite satisfied with that. I'm
Okay.
time constrained myself,
Okay, so that would
not as
be,
marvelous.
so then that would be Harry and myself, is that what I'm hearing?
Or,
Tilly?
Me?
Myself and Tilly?
Yeah, you and me.
Okay, okay, there you go. All right,
perfect.
so that's that. Planning board policies and protocol. I'm not gonna get into this tonight for discussion, because it's important that we're all here present for that, but, I just now then, I guess, wanna let the board know that what I am gonna start, what I am gonna push now and bring to the agendas, will be to develop a policy for the board, how we're gonna operate, you know, the way we should operate, why we do what we do, that sort of thing. I'm not gonna make it real complicated in the beginning. We have started this a long time ago. I started this with Howard, and he has a 3-ring binder somewhere in the office and that has a whole bunch of just scribbled ideas and whatnot. But one of the very first things, for example, to do would be to recommend that we establish as policy that the board adopts Robert's rules officially for procedure, because it never has. And you know, if we can come up with 3 to get this policy thing going, protocol, how we act with board members, the ball's rolling, success, and then we can keep picking away at it over time. So start thinking about it, you know, about how we interpret the ordinance, you know, what you think our job is for interpreting the ordinance, enforcing the ordinance, how we act as members with each other, how we engage with the public, and how the meetings are run, you know, how we wanna run the meeting, so. Think it all out, and it's 8:00.
That is a beautiful thing.
Did you have something you all wanted to say?
No, he's a scout working on a merit badge.
Oh,
Welcome.
all right, way to go.
Hi.
Town
Great.
meeting was part of his merit badge for communications.
Have any questions?
Not really.
You ought to come here sometime when it's a contentious meeting.
Yeah.
Then there's a lot to observe.
It's not usually this boring.
Oh, you know a meeting to go see? Highly recommend is Finance Committee.
Oh, yeah, I bet that gets good.
Because right now, you know, the town has got some real challenges with the budget,
Yeah,
and,
school and
yeah,
other things, yeah.
yeah, so that's a good one, so, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All
Second.
right. All opposed, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need some signatures
I
before you
think
guys
they're
go.
meeting right now, too, I saw
Oh,
one.
are they downstairs?
Yeah, on the second floor.